It all started on a Monday morning that smelled faintly of burnt toast and stale pencils. I was dragging myself into the first period like every other teenager, except this Monday had an eerie calm about it. The hallways were nearly empty. Maybe a few students trickled past, their shoes squeaking softly against the tile. I shrugged it off as the post-weekend sluggishness, even though my stomach twisted in a way that suggested something was off. By third period, the announcement buzzed over the intercom. Lockdown. Everyone to your nearest classroom. This is not a drill. My stomach dropped. I froze mid-step, staring at my classmates scrambling toward doors, teachers barking orders. My English teacher, Mrs. Crawford, her hands shaking, ushered us into the room and locked the door behind us. Her eyes darted nervously toward the windows, toward the hallway, like she expected someone or something to appear at any second. Minutes stretched into eternity. At first we whispered, trying to make jokes, pretending it was just a random safety precaution. But then came the noises. They were subtle at first, scratches against the walls, faint tapping on the glass windows. At first we assumed someone was pranking us, a janitor wandering too close. But the sounds grew sharper, more deliberate. The scratching wasn't random. It was rhythmic, calculated, almost communicating. I pressed my ear against the door once, my curiosity overpowering fear. The hallway was empty. And yet I swear I heard whispers, soft echoing voices just at the edge of comprehension. Names, my name, whispered, elongated in a haunting sing-song. I pulled away, heart hammering, certain I was imagining things. Then came the shadow. I saw it move along the hallway window. Not a normal shadow cast by someone or something. It was distorted, too long, too thin, stretching unnaturally along the tiles. My classmates didn't notice it at first. They were huddled together, trying to make sense of the silence, but the shadow shifted toward the door. It stopped, and for a moment everything went still, as if the school itself were holding its breath. A loud bang made us all jump. A window shattered in a distant classroom. We heard footsteps, slow and deliberate, dragging along the floor above us. No one dared to move. The intercom flickered, and for just a second, I thought I heard a voice, not Mrs. Crawford's, not anyone I knew, but a distorted, elongated whisper saying, "You shouldn't be here, we were trapped." The door wouldn't budge. Phones had no signal. The lights flickered, and then went out completely. Darkness. Absolute suffocating darkness, save for the faint glow of the emergency lights that barely illuminated the room. Something moved outside the classroom, a shadow, impossibly tall, pressed against the window. It didn't have a face, just a void, but I felt its eyes drilling into mine. The scratching started again, now inside the room, circling us. I could hear it climbing over desks, whispering closer and closer. Panic set in. Students screamed. Mrs. Crawford tried to calm us, but her voice shook, cracked like she was whispering to herself. I felt compelled to move, to run, but something rooted me to the spot. And then it whispered directly into my ear, clear as day, yet no one else seemed to hear. "You're next." I bolted. I don't even know how I got the door open. The shadow moved after me faster than any human should. Hallways twisted in ways they shouldn't. Corners that used to be straight were now skewed, distorted like I was seeing the school through a warped lens. I ran up the stairwell that wasn't there yesterday, and down a corridor I had never entered, feeling the cold brush of unseen hands on my back. By some miracle, I stumbled into the gym, where a few other students had managed to gather. The doors were barricaded with chairs and equipment, but we could hear it moving outside, pacing, waiting. My phone buzzed, finally a signal. I tried to call 911, but the line was silent. Only one message came through from an unknown number. "Why are you hiding?" We stayed there until the police arrived, or at least until people in uniform came storming in. The shadows were gone. The noises stopped. The building looked normal again, eerily so, like nothing had happened. But when we were escorted out, I caught a glimpse in a cracked locker mirror, a face pale and hollow staring back at me before it vanished. Weeks later, the school claimed there was no intruder. No lockdown should have happened. Cameras showed empty hallways. Teachers swore up and down it was a false alarm. But I know what I saw. And sometimes, late at night, when I can't sleep, I hear it. A whispering in my ear, calling my name, telling me I shouldn't have survived the lockdown. I never returned to that classroom. And some nights, when the wind blows just right, I swear I can see the shadow moving in the corner of my bedroom, waiting for me to fall asleep. It was a Wednesday morning, ordinary and dull, The kind where the fluorescent lights hum so low you barely notice, and everyone is half asleep sipping lukewarm coffee or reheating instant noodles in the cafeteria. I had my backpack slung over one shoulder, earbuds in, pretending not to notice the weird tension in the hallways. There was something off about the school that day. Nothing you could point at directly, just a low vibration in the air like static in your bones. I was late for my fourth period history class. I sprinted down the hallway, dodging students, backpack bouncing, trying not to collide with anyone. When I reached the classroom, the door was ajar. That wasn't unusual. Our teacher, Mr. Lang, was notorious for leaving doors open, especially when he was engrossed in grading or muttering to himself. I stepped in quickly and froze. The classroom looked wrong. It had the same number, the same layout in theory, but nothing else matched. The desks were newer, darker, polished. The walls were painted a pale gray I had never seen before, and there were no posters, no clock, no whiteboard. Just rows of chairs and a single door at the far end, slightly open, showing a corridor that didn't exist in the rest of the school. Hello? I called out, my voice unnaturally loud in the empty room. No answer. Not even the hum of the air conditioning. Just the smell, something metallic and wet like rust mixed with iron. My stomach twisted. I stepped further inside, hesitantly glancing around. Every desk was empty. I checked my watch. Fourth period had started 15 minutes ago. Where was everyone? Then I heard it, a faint tapping. Not on the desks, not on the walls. It was coming from the back of the room, near that strange door. I walked closer, my curiosity overcoming the growing fear in my chest. Each tap was deliberate, like someone or something was counting, mocking me. I pushed the door open slowly. The corridor was narrow, impossibly long, and dark. There were doors on either side, all closed. The tapping grew louder as I stepped in. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A message. From an unknown number. You shouldn't have come here. I froze. My fingers shook as I unlocked my phone, trying to respond. But no matter what I typed, the messages wouldn't send. The hallway seemed endless now, stretching farther than any building could allow. The doors on the sides weren't normal doors. They were distorted, warped, some leaning at impossible angles, some with scratches like fingernails gouged into the wood. I turned to run back, but the door to the classroom had vanished. My heart pounded. Sweat dripped down my back. The tapping followed me, echoing along the corridor, faster now, a relentless rhythm that matched my racing pulse. Then came the whispers, low, almost inaudible, coming from every direction at once. Stay, stay, stay. The voices overlapping each other, sometimes saying my name, sometimes saying things I couldn't understand. I stumbled forward, trying doors randomly, none of them opened. Panic was setting in fully now. Ahead, one door creaked open by itself. I felt drawn to it, like something invisible was guiding me. Inside was a classroom, or maybe a trap pretending to be one. Desks were scattered, papers torn and written on the walls in jagged, dark letters. We are waiting. You cannot leave. A chair scraped behind me. I whipped around. No one there. The air grew colder. My breath fogged in front of me. I could see movement in the corner of the room. A figure standing in the shadows, tall and thin, no discernible face, just a void. I ran back through the hallway, the whispers rising to a deafening roar. Every door I tried led to a different, impossible classroom. One had the ceiling low, the walls closing in like they were alive. Another had desks stacked impossibly high, like a tower I couldn't climb. The shadows followed me, creeping along the edges, always just beyond the corner of my vision. I tried screaming. Nothing. My voice was gone. My phone had died, my backpack was gone, and my shoes felt glued to the floor. Panic was suffocating me when I saw it. A door at the end of the corridor, slightly open, with a faint light spilling out. Hope surged. I ran faster than I thought possible. I reached the door and pushed it open. I expected the school hallway, freedom, anything. But instead, I was outside. Not outside in the parking lot, not outside in the morning sunshine, outside in a dark void, nothing but fog and shadow. The school wasn't behind me. The sounds of the real world were gone, and then I saw them. Figures, dozens of them, standing just beyond the fog. They had no faces, no details, just darkness where their features should have been. They watched me. Whispers turned into chanting, "Join us. Stay with us. Forever." I turned to run, but the ground gave way beneath me. I fell, screaming, into a void that swallowed everything. I woke up hours later in the nurse's office. My head pounding, my body shaking. The hallways looked normal. The classroom existed again, the real one, as if nothing had happened. My friends claimed I had been missing for the entire period, that I'd simply walked into a supply closet by mistake and passed out. No one believed me, not even the principal, but I know what I saw. I know the void is out there, connected to the school waiting, and sometimes, late at night, I dream of that hallway. The whispers, the endless doors, and the faceless figures. I can feel them still just at the edge of my consciousness, watching, waiting for me to wander back. I haven't gone near that school hallway alone since, and I never will. It started with a key. Not any key, but an old rusted janitor's key I found lying in the hallway during lunch break. I had been wandering the school, avoiding the cafeteria chaos when it glinted under the fluorescent lights. Curiosity got the better of me, as it always does. I picked it up. Cold metal pressed into my palm, heavy, strangely warm at the tip. There was something about it, like it wanted me to take it. I pocketed it, joking to myself that maybe I'd discovered a secret room or a hidden closet full of supplies. My friends didn't believe me, laughed, and went on their way. I was alone, wandering again, the weight of the key strange against my jeans. That's when I noticed the door. It was a janitor's closet I had passed countless times, always locked, unremarkable, paint peeling, broomsticks sticking out at awkward angles. But today, it called to me. The key fit perfectly. The lock clicked like it hadn't been opened in decades. I pushed the door slowly. Inside was darkness, the smell of mildew and rust filling my nostrils. But beyond the first shadowy step, the closet stretched impossibly far. Shelves twisted into spirals I couldn't trace to the end. Mops and buckets seemed to sway on their own. The fluorescent lights from the hall didn't reach in here. I pulled out my phone, no signal, camera dead. My curiosity surged. I stepped in. The door slammed shut behind me. I froze. The room was now alive. The shadows shifted. Shapes moved just beyond vision. And that's when I heard the humming, low guttural vibrating in my chest. I recognized the tune, but couldn't place it. It was old, older than the school, like something from a memory I didn't have. I started walking down the narrow corridor of the closet, weaving between shelves stacked impossibly high. The humming got louder, echoing off invisible walls, coming from everywhere and nowhere at once. My breath became short, every instinct screaming at me to turn back. But curiosity, stupid, dangerous curiosity, pushed me forward. That's when I saw them. Figures, hunched and silent, shuffling along the aisles, impossibly thin, their faces hidden beneath dark hoods. They didn't acknowledge me at first. I froze, pressed against the shelf, heart hammering, listening. Their whispers rose in a language that scraped my brain raw, unintelligible but horrifyingly urgent. He's here. He sees. He takes. I wanted to run, but the floor beneath me shifted. It was no longer flat. The closet had become a corridor stretching downwards, spiraling into darkness. Every step made the humming louder, turning into chanting. I tripped over something soft, and when I looked down, it was a pile of keys, hundreds of them, all old, all different, all glowing faintly in the dim light. The one I carried vibrated in my pocket. The figures noticed me then. One stepped forward, lifting a skeletal hand. I could feel its gaze penetrating, as though it could reach into my soul. The air became thick, like breathing through water. The chanting was deafening now, and I realized it wasn't directed at me. It was for the key I held. I tried to drop it, but my hand wouldn't let go. Then came the whispers, closer, echoing inside my skull. Use it. Open the door. Take the room? I understood suddenly. This wasn't a closet. It wasn't a janitor's room. It was a prison. The key unlocked more than just a door. It unlocked something ancient in the school itself. Something that had been trapped, waiting, feeding on curiosity, luring students like me into its corridors. Panic took over. I ran blindly down the twisted hallway, the figures following, stretching impossibly long to block my path. Doors appeared out of nowhere, some closing on their own, some leading to endless rooms I had never seen before. Each room had something different, mirrors that reflected not me but others screaming silently. Lockers with hands pressing from inside, shadows moving with a life of their own. I tried to scream, but my voice was swallowed by the air. My chest ached. My legs burned. And then I saw it, a door, tall, ornate, glowing faintly. The chanting reached a fever pitch. The figures blocked the other paths, forcing me toward it. The key vibrated in my hand, burning hot now as if urging me to use it. I inserted it into the lock. It fit perfectly. The door swung open into a blinding white light. Relief hit me, finally escape. But I hesitated. A voice, low and guttural, whispered, "Once you step through, you cannot return. Once the key turns, it chooses its next keeper." I turned the key, the light engulfed me. I felt my body pulled apart, stretched, dissolved. For a moment I was weightless, suspended in a void. And then I was somewhere else entirely. I woke up in the janitor's closet, back in the real world. The hallway outside the door normal, mundane as if nothing had happened. My phone worked again. My friends laughed, calling me late for class. The key was gone. My heart raced. I told myself it was a hallucination, a trick of my tired mind. But I knew the truth, and that night at home I couldn't sleep. The chanting, the humming, the whispers, they were inside me now, a constant murmur at the edge of my consciousness. My dreams were no longer dreams. I would wander endless corridors, chased by faceless figures through rooms that should not exist. And always, always there was the key, heavy and warm in my pocket, waiting for me to use it again. I never saw the janitor again, but I sometimes hear him in the hallways, keys jingling softly, muttering, "They find the curious, they never leave." I don't know if I will ever leave this place for good. I don't know if anyone ever truly leaves. And now every time I pass a janitor's closet, I feel it calling, waiting, knowing. And I know someone will come after me, and they will take the key, because the school always waits.